Hello, this short video will help you troubleshoot your Crystal Fire Plus direct spark ignition system when your symptoms are the sparker won't spark. Follow these steps. Note, it is always a best practice to shut off the gas line leading to the burner to assure you do not accidentally turn on the flame while troubleshooting for spark. So let's get started. Do you hear a beep and a clicking of the sparker? When the burner is turned on, you should hear a single beep from the module and a spark that sounds like this. Note that the beep is coming from the module inside the enclosure and may be difficult to hear, but it is important that you be able to hear this to troubleshoot this system properly. Taking off the enclosure cover may help you hear this more clearly. If you can hear the beep, this indicates you should have sufficient power to the module. If you do not hear the beep, first check to make sure you have proper power supply. Make sure that your transformer is plugged into a covered electrical junction box. You can disconnect the leads from your transformer that lead to the valve and module and test for voltage. Place your multimeter in the DC setting and insert your probes into the transformer leads. You should read a fairly consistent 3.3 volts or higher. If you have no voltage at all, you can use the AC setting on your multimeter to check to assure you have 110 volts at your junction box, or simply plug in a separate electrical appliance to assure you have power to the junction box. If you have sufficient power to your junction box and your transformer measures less than 3.3 volts or gives you a very sporadic reading, it is likely you need a new transformer. Order part number OGR-3V-ADP. To help assure the longevity of this transformer, always make sure it is plugged into a covered junction box. OGC supplies a junction box that fits this transformer, part number CF-DSI-JB. Now, reconnect your transformer wires. It is important to make sure your transformer wire connections are correct and connected tightly. It is important that positive goes to positive and negative goes to negative, and that these connections are tight. If you have sufficient power from the transformer and still do not hear the beep and sparker from the module, disconnect and reconnect the 7-pin connector leading into the module to verify it is connected tightly. If you completed all these steps and still do not hear the beep and clicking from the module, you likely need a new module. Order part number OGR-6KR-NT. If you hear a beep and the clicking of the sparker, but do not see it on your electrode, you can check your continuity of your sparker by disconnecting the sparker wire from the module and checking continuity from that lead to the actual igniter rod. If no continuity, you either have a bad wire or need a new electrode, part number CF-DSI-electrode. If you do not have a voltmeter, you can also validate the module and a portion of the wire harness by disconnecting the sparker spades and holding the sparker wire connection coming from the module close to a metal surface as shown here. If you see the spark, you know your module is fine and the lead coming off the module is fine, and the only items left are the lead to the electrode or the electrode itself. Although unlikely, you should also check your ground. Do this by checking continuity between the center probe of the electrode and the metal body of the valve. If no continuity, order a new ground wire. Now let's troubleshoot the scenario where you do hear the spark but don't see the spark or the spark is very weak. When you turn on the unit, you should now hear and see the spark between the igniter rod and the center grounding wire. This may be difficult to see in bright sunlight. The gap between the igniter and the ground wire should be approximately 1/8 of an inch. Too large of a gap and the spark may not jump between those rods. Too short of a gap and the spark may be so small that it is not hot enough to ignite the gases. Don't try and adjust the long sections of the rod as it could fracture the ceramic insulation and cause further failure. If you still hear the spark but do not see the spark, it is likely the spark is occurring elsewhere in the system. Electrical flow will always take the path of least resistance. Follow the igniter wire under the burner to see if you can see it sparking. It is possible the insulation on the wire was nicked and causing the spark to occur somewhere other than the igniter area. If this is occurring, repair the wire with some electrical tape or order a new electrode. And this completes all the steps to assure you have proper spark on your DSI burner system. If you have sufficient spark and the unit will not light, check out the troubleshooting video titled Troubleshooting DSI Flame Won't Light. This and other helpful troubleshooting videos can be found by clicking the Product Support tab at OutdoorRooms.com. Thank you for assuring our products are installed and serviced in a safe and professional manner.